Hello, everybody. This is Mike Pucciarelli, creator of Still Life Photography, Michael Pucciarelli YouTube channel. And tonight, I'll be talking about the Canon R5 and R6 in terms of Wi-Fi with the Droid and other ways to, send data. And the R5 and R6 are very similar, but there's a difference between the R5 and R6, and I'll get into that later in the presentation. So this is the bulb mode. When I do light painting, sometimes I'm in the M mode for manual. And this is the Wi-Fi. And these are the other settings. And I'll talk about the RAW and the small JPEG I use for the Wi-Fi. And right now the Wi-Fi is off. If they're on, it would say on. The difference between, R5 and R6. R5 is on the right. It's 45 megs. I use the C-RAW, and I use the smallest JPEG S2. And I use the S2 for the Wi-Fi. I do all my editing from the DNG after I convert it from the CR3. And I do the same thing for the R6, where it's a 20 meg, RAW file. And I use the smallest JPEG. I like to use a C-RAW for the, R5. They're easy to work with, but they're both good. The R5, the C-RAW and RAW. And again, I only use the JPEG if I'm using the Droid Wi-Fi to see my photographs without touching the camera, because you need to do this in light painting. You can also do this in other still life photography too. And again, I do all my editing in the DNG ending file after I convert it from the CR3 file, because the DNG files, they're easy to work with. They come up quicker when you launch Windows Explorer. And the DNG ending files, you can work with, any operating system. Now, when you work with Wi-Fi with the Droid or a computer, you need to have a nickname. And the R6 is over here, EOS R6 MFP, which is Michael Francis Pucciarelli, which is me. And then the R5 is over here. And we're going to talk a lot about the Wi-Fi settings and other, like file transfer protocol. Now, the first two ways to transfer data, we have the Droid and computer. Both of these use the Canon Connect software. Things go smoothly and you get the data. The box, the purple box, is the FT file transfer protocol, where you're not using Canon Connect software. You got to use like a certificate file, and it has to be the same type on the server and in the card. And if something happens to the file on either the server or the camera, you'll have a problem connecting. This way is tricky, it's buggy. And like I said, you have to have accurate information with the certificates. So Canon recommends, the Droid and the computer, and use the Canon Connect software. And it's designed to work with Canon. The FTP, it's not. FTP, if you don't have access to the Canon software, but then there's cloud and Bluetooth. But still, the Droid and computer with the Canon Connect software is the best way to go. Now you want to enable your Bluetooth, you want to enable your Wi-Fi. And when you do that, your airplane mode would be disabled, because you can't, use airplane mode and Wi-Fi at the same time. And Canon recommends that, you use Bluetooth, because everything is set. Here's a Bluetooth address. This is how Bluetooth recognizes the camera. And you never have to refer to this if you're using the Bluetooth. And on the right, it's the MAC address. It's how the network, identifies the camera. Like in maybe some of the Apple laptops, you may have to refer to this. You probably have to refer to this with, FTP. That's how FTP recognizes your camera. But with the Canon Connect software, with the Droid and computer, you pretty much never have to worry about the Bluetooth address or the MAC address. Now we're talking about FTP. It's separate from the Canon software. You got to always perform the transfer with the set command. You make sure this is enabled. You want to make sure you set your root certificate, correctly. And you want to make sure it's on the camera correctly and also on the server. You can load the root certificate from the card. You can view the details. And there's like 3 different files with 3 different names and extensions. So when you use FTP, you want to make sure that you use the same file name and extension, both on the camera and also the FTP. Thing about the card is you not only save the images, but you could save the 3 certificates for the FTP. You could save log files. You could save firmware updates. Because when I was testing out the Wi-Fi, it asked me to update my firmware, and I did. And I'm using now 1.8. So you also want to make sure that you have your firmware updated to the latest or correct version. FTP, you're loading the certificates from your card and also the server. You want to make sure both files on the server and the camera is not corrupt. There's ways to, send data with the smartphone. Auto send, you want to enable. And also you want to send your reduced JPEG to the phone for viewing. This is the name of my old, Droid, but now it'd be the AO3 something, because I needed, a new cell phone, and I did get one, and it's a lot more powerful because my old cell phone, I kept charging it up every 6 hours, and it would get to 50%. So I decided just to get a new one, and I did, and works well. So you want to make sure that your cell phone's updated, and your cell phone, you're comfortable using it. It's not having like charging up problems like my old cell phone. Here's the thing with the Canon Connect. You first want to, go to your camera, go to the Wi-Fi section, and then I'll tell you to go to the Canon software and connect. And now you're just waiting to connect, and it'll say a connection established. And I have the nickname, ES, since I'm using my Canon 6, it's the EOS R6 MFP. The password, you just have to type in once. Now, the files that I use, I always want to use full because you have complete power of the pixels. 1.6 is also, well, it's great for the sensor C lens, but I no longer use those, but you don't have complete power of the pixels. And the same with the other, like 1:1, 4:3, 16:9. The other ratios are great for the needs, but you're not using the complete pixel power like the full. And that's how I'd recommend the full. Now, there are many ways to record the R5 and R6. You can record the 2 cards at the same time. You can switch from card 1 to card 2 after card 1 is full. Some people, and I do this, is that you record on both cards where if you delete a file, card 1 will have that file deleted, but card 2 will still have that file for backup. And that's great if you want to go on like a, lifetime trips where you have a backup. So if you actually delete it from card 1, card 2 will still have that file. In both the R5 and R6, they both can use the, SDXC and SDHC cards. And the difference between the XC and HC cards is that it's speed and also storage. The XC ending cards, it's 2 terabytes of data storage maximum, and it's 10 times faster than HC ending cards. And the HC, you can only store up to 32 gigabytes of data, and that's a lot smaller than 2 terabytes. It's an older version. Its speed is 10 megabytes per second, but why not have the XC ending where it's 10 times faster? Now, the Type B memory card, that's only available on the R5. You could record data. You can also record, videos, 4K, all types of full HD video. And the speeds is great, at least 750 megabytes or 1,000, even more. It all depends on the card, and there's different cards you can buy. These are my Facebook groups. The Still Life Fine Art's growing every day. The others are slowly growing. Some of these will leave with other people. Some of them I'll leave by myself. These are my business links. Instagram. I update my Instagram like many times a week. I haven't touched my Google profile, but I may look at that. LinkedIn, I update. And Twitter. This is my fine art website. I'll bring up the website. My portfolio. This is my fine art website. And I do, light paintings, plexiglass reflections, and also just regular natural light still life. I also do other types of photography too, like black and white, outdoor landscape. This is my YouTube channel where I will record this video. Where I have my playlist, where I have equipment in still life photography and light painting, that have light painting webinars, black plexiglass webinars, Adobe software webinars, and also white plexiglass webinars. So for any questions, you can always email me. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. But thank you for listening to this webinar. Maybe consider liking and subscribing to my YouTube channel, Still Life Photography Michael Cucciarelli. Thanks for listening.